Welcome back to Pump the Brakes, where you hear everything with respect to economics and your wallet or pocketbook. Today is October the 14th. My name is Andre Beckles. I'm with Harari Wealth Management. Let's get into it. We're going to talk a little bit about corporate earnings, economic news, geopolitics, and then an update on the market. So let's start with corporate earnings. We are in the fourth quarter, so we are reporting on, we meaning corporate America, reporting on earnings. We're in earnings season just starting up. That will definitely affect how the market moves from day to day. Next, politics. Domestically, we have local and federal elections that are coming up within, say, the next 20 days. Legislation by whomever wins those elections can make or shape your pocketbook, your wallet, your savings. Next, geopolitical events that are taking place, whether it be the war in Ukraine. Ukraine is the largest grain producer, so that definitely affects pricing for goods and services domestically and internationally. You also have the atrocities that are taking place inside the Middle East. That, beyond, if I can say beyond the atrocities, it also affects the pricing of oil commodities. So that is also very important, especially when we touch on the inflation. So next, let's get into economic news. Let's start with, let's say, unemployment. Unemployment report came out a few days ago, October 4th. It was released by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And for September, we added 254,000 jobs, more than expected. It was expected to be 140,000. The unemployment rate now is at 4.1%. So unemployment still doing very well. A robust economy, especially with the higher than expected number. If I look at labor participation, it's at about 63%. That is actually fairly good. People that are not participating in the labor market, 6 million people. Unemployed people at this time, 6.8 million versus 6.3 in the previous month. Discouraged workers, no longer looking for jobs, 445,000. And if we look at the areas where we saw job growth, food services added 69,000 jobs. Government, state, and federal, 31,000. Construction, 25,000. And healthcare at 45,000. So that is a quick synopsis on the unemployment data, which is very important when we speak with regard to the Federal Reserve, whether they're going to lower or raise interest rates. Take a quick moment and please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. That will get the algorithms going and more people will see this free content. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Next, let's jump into, let's look at the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. That is something everybody's talking about. Higher prices, everything costs more. Well, relatively speaking, the year-by-year number, meaning how much we are going up by each year. Well, historically, inflation, which is, let's say the norm of inflation is somewhere around 3%. We had our heights at about 10-11% in 2020 during COVID. Right now, if we look at the August number, we were at 2.4%, which is, that's the September number, 2.4%. August was 2.5%. So we are trending in the right place. The Federal Reserve generally looks at 2% to be their benchmark, especially when they're looking at lowering interest rates. What's hot inside the economy as far as higher prices? Transportation is up year over year, meaning last year to this year, up 8.5%. Month to month, it was up 1.4%. Car insurance, up 16.3%. You're feeling it, I'm feeling it. I hear people talking about all the time. I just finished calling my insurance company complaining about the 10% increase in car insurance. What's cold? Meaning what has gone down? Oil prices. Year over year, you're looking at oil prices being down, gas prices, gasoline down 22%, but oil overall down 15%. If we look at the previous month, it's down 4.4. So we're trending in the right place. Oil makes up a lot of what, when we talk about inflation. So it's from shipping, the making of products and goods. Oil is everywhere. Let's see. Something that everybody should look at is the price of eggs, because it's usually a misnomer when it rises this high. Right now we're looking at last month it being up about, say, 8.4%. Year over year, you're looking at it being up 40%. Reason for that is the avian flu. Nothing the government can do about it. When you have such a flu that kills birds, they have to cull the birds. That means millions of birds are being killed. Less supply, higher prices. Hopefully we'll get past that shortly. What else is up? Health insurance up 7.5%. Nursing home cost up 8.7%. Car repair up 6%. Pet care up 7.3%. Admission into entertainment up 10%. Daycare up 6%. So there are some of the areas. If I look at housing year over year, up anywhere from 4.9 to 5.2%, whether you're looking at rentals or you're looking at owning a home. That gives you a quick peek at what is going on regarding inflation. I'll have all of these reports that I'm speaking of embedded for you to take a look yourself. Retail sales, what we're seeing consumers doing as far as spending money. Just looking down to make sure I have enough time. Yes, retail sales for August. We reported that being up 0.1%. And if we look at it versus for the month, that was for the month of August. We look at it for July, up 1.1. So what you're seeing is a slowdown, and you'll hear about it if I get a chance to touch on consumer sentiment. It means that people are doing a little less with their discretionary funds, trying to put away more money, so to speak. So that's what we see there. And when we talk about consumer spending, if I may touch on that very, very importantly, if we look at the gross domestic product, that's the sales of all goods and services inside the U.S. economy, we, individuals, 70% of what we consume is made up in the GDP. All right? What's next? Consumer sentiment. Another economic gauge. How people are feeling about the economy. It changes month to month. The main index that we take a look at is the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment that came out October 11th of this year. The index was down 1.7% at 68.9. Previous month it was at 70.1%. Basically, it shows a shift of where people are feeling comfortable. Some people aren't feeling comfortable because they see some rising in prices in different areas. I talked about that in the hot areas inside the CPI report. But they also have some frustrations with respect to what may take place with the pending elections. That is your consumer sentiment report. We are moving quick and fast. GDP, I mentioned that is the sale of all goods and services moving and flowing through the economy. Economy grew. This is the report as of September 26th. Next one is October 30th. And this comes to us by the Bureau of Economic Analysis, otherwise known as the U.S. Department of Commerce. And that was up 3%. And if we look at that, that's for the second quarter. If we take a look then at the first quarter, it was up 1.6. So still a robust economy. People are spending money, even though you see some pockets of negativity when you talk about consumer sentiment. But that is a very quick moving index, because people change their minds on how they feel about the economy. The survey is kind of deep with a breadth, but it's not, doesn't contain that big of a breadth of information. So take it with a pinch of salt. I next want to just touch on some important things that are coming forth. Then I'll touch on the markets, and then we'll close. Most importantly, time for you to make sure that you're putting away enough money for retirement. Remember that for 2024, you can allocate $7,000 to your IRA, $8,000 if you're 50 and older, 401k, $23,000. If you're 50 and older, you can do an additional $7,500. The COLA for a cost of living adjustment for people that are collecting Social Security for next year, it will be up by 2.5%. So if you take a look at that CPI number that I touched on, kind of in line with that. If you see inflation at such a number, then you're going to see your bump up by about inflation there. So that's something that I saw that was very important, that I thought that I should share with you. Let's see, sunsets. Also, year end for many people that are, generally speaking, retired, you have your required minimum distribution. So we're in the month of October. You have a little while longer to take that annual, if you haven't, take out your annual distribution from your IRA or certain retirement accounts. Keep that in mind. Lastly, I said it's October 14th. Let's see where the markets have closed today. The Dow Jones up 14.25. The Nasdaq, heavy with tech, up 23.25 year to date. The S&P 500 up 22.8%. The Russell 2000, which is all small caps, up 10.9. The Russell mid caps up just about 15%, up 14.96. And the Morgan Stanley EFO, which represents roughly large and mid cap stocks across 21 developed countries, looking at China, Europe, Far East, Australia, and if we look at that year to date, that's up 8.3%. So there you have it. That's a quick synopsis of what's going on with regards to the marketplace, the economy. Like, share, and subscribe to Pump the Brakes. My name's Andre. I'm going to love you and leave you, but most importantly, like, share, and subscribe. Peace be with you. Take care.